What is going on with this company? Dark Labs used to be one of the best, strongest companies for gray area pre-workouts. However, they've gone through some legal trouble recently, changed their ownership, and removed DMHA officially. And the question remains, is crack gold one of the best pre-workouts you can get, or is it just another high-stim, boring pre-workout in a crowded lineup? We're gonna get to all that. For a bit of context and lure, Dark Labs recently had some legal trouble. They changed their owners, and now they've gone a little bit more towards the mainstream market. Not completely, but since DMHA is officially removed from their pre-workouts, we have one thing to wonder: if their pre-workouts are still good, because they provide, and they did make some of the best pre-workouts: Crack, Flame, Hordenine, and now we have got this new pre-workout called Crack Gold. Now this pre-workout itself is not new, but the formula is, and it's completely different than the previous formulations. So we're gonna get into the stimulant part of this pre-workout because that's probably where you're interested. The first thing you'll notice is that it has 500 milligrams of caffeine from two sources, one being from the normal source, Hydrus, but Hydrus, of course, wasn't enough for Dark Labs, so they threw in 200 milligrams of caffeine citrate. So citrate is hard-hitting caffeine. I don't feel a difference between all the caffeine forms. When I want a pre-workout, I want something to hit me. I don't need something to last me all day. That being said, 500 milligrams of caffeine, that's a whole lot of caffeine. If you are not used to it, especially combined with the other stimulants, you're in for a ride. So then we have Erigenesis, 300 milligrams. This is for that dopamine and motivation boost. This is better than most euphoric type of stimulants. And when it's combined with DMHA, it gets better. And it is combined with DMHA. At 250 milligrams, we got that DMHA and 2-amino-isoheptine. Now this dosage is quite good. It's not the highest, but 250 milligrams. So this is gonna provide that fight or flight mode that you get in a pre-workout, aside from caffeine, because caffeine just reduces fatigue, increases alertness, but stimulants like DMHA and DMAA puts your mind and a body in a fight or flight mode. So you're zooming when you're combining these kind of stimulants all together. Halostastin. This is a milder alternative to ephedrine, but it doesn't provide the same level of energy, of course. It may have some fat burning benefits. Not much research is on it, but it's there. But the next ingredient does have a bunch of research on it. That's Alpha Yohimbine. This is a fat-burning stimulant that will provide a strong energy kick, and it may make you sweat a little bit. It's what provides that jittery, anxious, unknown type of feeling in a pre-workout. So that's it for the stimulants. 5 grams of pure citrulline, minimum dose, good for pumps, great for performance. It's gonna also help with reducing soreness. It's because of the increased blood flow and nutrient delivery to your muscles. And then we have agmatine, 1 gram. Combined with citrulline, agmatine will prolong the pump that you may get from citrulline, as it can reduce the breakdown of nitric oxide levels that typically happens within your body. Agmatine also has some benefits for the mind, as it can provide a little bit of a mood uplift. So combined with everything, it should provide some nice effects for euphoric and mood elevation. Alpha GPC, 500 milligrams. This combined with tyrosine will provide more mental concentration and focus. But the downside though, I don't see huperzine. Now there is artificial sweeteners, and I believe there is coloring. Okay, I don't see coloring, but that's it for the formula. And according to the formula, it's 500 milligrams of caffeine combined with 2 strong stimulants, Alpha Yohimbine and DMHA. So if you have taken 400 milligrams of caffeine and you're fine, then this should be an okay next step. But of course, assess your tolerance as always. Half a serving with any pre-workout. You never know what you get till you get it. You want to be safe, and you want to continue watching my videos. That's the goal here. And so What's the effects like? Well, we're gonna dive into my experience right here. All right, so let me just start with this pre-workout, Crack Gold. We've seen it coming. We've seen the reformulation coming. Dark Labs has been on top for years, and then recently they changed their owner, all because of legal reasons and whatnot. But waking up and taking this is like a big slap in the face, man. A big slap in the face when it comes to the energy and the mood, as well as everything else, just comes right at you. But it's a big surprise, all the effects, how it comes together, especially that first initial part. So waking up, I'm tired, but drinking this, it's like a flip switched on, and I feel awakened, right? And it feels like this climax that builds up quickly of energy, mood, and focus. It's just like a quick build up. It reaches a point where it's like, it's getting stormy. I got a bit of urgency. I got a lot of urgency going, and I wanted to get to the gym. But the thing is, something strange happens, because when that energy builds up, you feel it a lot. But then after that initial rush, let's say after about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe a little bit more, the energy kind of like, it's there. And you'll notice it when, or I noticed it when I was speaking to someone, because when I was speaking, I could not stop moving my mouth. I could not stop moving my mouth. And I had to remind myself, like, take a few seconds, let them respond first, because my energy was high. But it was weird because that rush, that feeling wasn't there as hard. So then I'm working out, and I am going and going throughout my sets and reps, no exhaustion, and I don't have any food in my system. I don't eat anything, but at the same time, my appetite is suppressed. And then I got that urgency going, got that energy. The mood is elevated, but the mood isn't as noticeable after that initial rush, let's say, but it's still there and it's still elevated. And the whole time I was working out, like, I couldn't stop working out. I kept going for an hour and a half, and the high intensity was clearly there for the first hour, but the energy did not die down after that first hour. I was like, all right, let's just do some stretches, but then I end up doing a few more sets, a few more ab exercises, and I am going. But the energy was incredible. Not that I felt it after that rush as much as I did in the first rush, but it was like, it was there, and it was clearly there. I was fully awakened the whole time. And I will compare this to another pre-workout because it's interesting. Let's say Apollyon Nutrition, Assassin B8. A lot of people just felt like it was just caffeine, and Crack Gold has a lot of caffeine, and it's very obvious. But it's also clear that they're using DMHA, especially, and aerogenesis. Everything feels like it's there. Nothing feels like it's off. The label feels like what the label feels like, what the label looks like. So it's just a high energy, high mood, and you feel that exotic stimulant hit, and you feel like it hits hard. And the pumps were good. I mean, not great as expected, but I added in a intra workout with like a gram of glycerol, if that makes a difference. But honestly, I wouldn't depend on this for pumps at all, because it's just like it has the minimum doses, but it's the upside. It has that combo of agmatine and citrulline. But everything works as expected. But just the only downside, there's, I think, one big one, and it's that the caffeine. The caffeine is so high that when the workout is over, you still have a lot of energy, and then when the evening comes, for myself, like, I have trouble sleeping if I have caffeine in my system, and having that much caffeine in the beginning of the day stays in the system for a long time, for at least, let's say, 15 hours. It just divides in half every 6 hours. So my sleep quality takes a hit, let's say that. The sleep quality definitely will take a hit, as it did with Crack Purple. But where does this fit into the stash of a stim junkie? If you're looking for something with DMHA and caffeine, this is a good choice, and you need something to slap you into your workouts. this is a good choice. I would go with cracked gold, but with Maniaco and cracked purple, it's like they have this cracked gold, which is similar to cracked purple on the label, but which one do you go with? They both look very similar.